weeds everywhere. The soil must be fertile. The rains blessed them abundantly. I almost thought they would overwhelm the cowpeas and beans I had planted. I laughed and wondered who had asked them to grow. It was embarrassing they had outgrown what I had planted. I wished, like amaranth, they were edible. But when I looked at them again, I thought they were beautiful, and my worry disappeared for a moment. I decided to take a short imaginary trip into the plants, and it was wonderful. I'm glad that what I had planted survived. These weeds were always ahead of me up to the last minute. There was not any moment during the rainy season that the shamba was clear of weeds. I have always loved the color green. That is why I chose a green background for the birds. This time, I gave them uncooked rice, pancake, and omena. No matter how high the bird structure is, the firefinch will often look for food on the ground. And the cat knows this. That is why Alexander the cat keeps coming here every day, because he knows at one time or another a firefinch will be on the ground looking for food. And what makes it worse, there are birds that eat and spill food from the structure onto the ground. I don't know why the firefinch cannot ignore this. But now I'm going out more often to check if the cat is around, which is helpful because the cat seems to realize that I am protecting the birds more. The other birds are more careful and will not spend much time on the ground. They take very few bites at a time, then go away, come back after some time and do the same. I take most of my footage on the ground because the background is more beautiful than the structure. I love all kinds of birds, and I think they look very beautiful on camera, especially when the background is green.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers.
We will visit Ngong Forest today, which is one of my favorite adventures. Ngong Forest is situated along Ngong Road next to the Southern Bypass, a few kilometers away from Karen. The transport in Thika has been easier with mini tuk-tuks. Minibuses to Nairobi and Ngong have made traveling more enjoyable, and the beautiful Thika highway contributes to the excitement of the journey.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours, while I'm walking only through the night.
We have been here before. It is a calm and cool place to be. During the first visit, I was afraid I would fall off the steep paths and roll down to the river. I also thought there were wild animals, but as I continued to visit, everything became less scary. The more you do something, the more confident and braver you become. I have never seen any wild animal. I think they hide very well. It is wonderful to be able to drop everything else we do just to be here, where it is unbelievably peaceful and quiet. A place where time slows down.
Darling, if I had bought you flowers, what if you stayed at home that night? Yeah, I've been low.
Forests, where we hike and camp, a place few people visit and many take for granted. Nature that lowers stress, makes us joyful and healthy, where we do not have to worry that we will go home with a cold or a cough. There are many different plants, many flowers, and a few wild fruits.
I was on a taxi in the southern bypass heading towards Kikuyu. I think it was 2017 or 2018. And I saw a water body by the roadside just after the bypass. Is it an interchange or something? I saw a water body in the forest, and when I got the chance, I looked at Google Maps and I saw that there was Ngong Forest around that area. I had always known that Ngong Forest was around there, but I didn't know there was a dam inside. So the water body by the side of the road was one of the dams in Ngong Forest. Anytime I see a water body by the roadside when I'm in the car, I always take note of it. I've been taking note of these water bodies even before the technology that allows us to pin locations and save them on Google Maps was invented or was made available. So when I got the chance, which is around a year later or a few months later, I visited Ngong Forest. The entry fee was 100 shillings. I don't know how much it is nowadays. I went inside and I saw a nice looking dam. I was told the dam has fish. The guys working inside the forest didn't know about the fish called bass. Ngong Forest Dam had a lot of bass, and a lot of people had gone fishing in that dam and had caught bass. I didn't know at the time. The locals didn't know the fish called bass. They called it Nile perch, and they told me there was Nile perch in that water. So I made a decision to come back later and try and fish for that Nile perch. I knew it wasn't Nile perch because I've never seen anybody breed Nile perch in dams, and even if they did, it will be so big, it will be hard to notice. So a short while later, I visited Nairobi Sports House with a friend in a mall nearby. The mall is the hub in Karen. And in the Nairobi Sports House, I saw a small fishing rod, and I was excited because that's the first time I ever saw fishing rod being sold in any shop in Kenya. After a couple of months, as soon as I got enough money, I went and bought it. I didn't hesitate. It was a small rod and it was a Chinese model. I was given as a discount, I think. It was sold at an extremely low price, which was like 500 Kenya shillings. It was a discount from 2,000 shillings. I don't know why they did that, but it was good. I bought it and came back to Ngong Forest Dam.
The paths of Ngong Forest are all green and breathtaking. It is quiet except for the sound of birds and insects. Sometimes Nairobi and its surroundings can be very hot, and staying indoors can be uncomfortable. If you wish to spend time in a cool, quiet place away from the crowd, Ngong Forest it is. And when I visit, I know it is a free day away from the house chores and farm. Everyone needs to rest sometimes. Leisure walks are very refreshing. We fish in both dams all the time, but have never caught any fish that makes me happy. Every time we visit Ngong Forest and I see Ken carry the rod, I think he has carried the rod, but we will not carry any fish home. Ken does not mainly fish for food, so he will try to fish anywhere and will not mind which fish he catches. The most common fish here are guppies and crayfish. These do not excite me because they are too small to cook. I love walking along the paths, taking many videos and photos because I want to carry all the memories home with me. At first, because of the excitement, the photos and footage were very many. I realized that some were unnecessary and some were poor quality because they were taken in a hurry. As time went by, I reminded myself that it was leisure time. I was supposed to enjoy the surroundings too, not take pictures and videos all the time.
Umepiga nini kama? I can't remember what wandering jars.
Some time back, I was nervous and uncomfortable at the thought of being filmed to be published. I have overcome this fear and hope that I get better in taking films and photos every day that passes. Because the wild animals are hard to find, nobody hunts in this forest. There are a few people that jog and walk their dogs. They are all friendly. I also walk here for fitness, health, and a peace of mind.
I think it is difficult to catch fish in Ngong Forest because the fishing pressure from different enthusiasts coming to the forest has ensured that the fish on the farther side of the dam are easier to catch than the fish that is nearer the bank, the more accessible side of the bank. The fish on the more accessible side probably recognize every bait and can associate the bait with being caught because there's been a lot of catch and release. So the one that have probably not been caught that much are on the other side of the dam. Also, there has been quite a number of stories about overfishing, like people coming at night and scooping up a lot of fish on nets to sell. That is probably why it got so difficult. The other reason is maybe at the time I was fishing, I didn't have proper information about the fish in the dam and what baits have been used to catch the fish. I also didn't know that there was Mozambique tilapia in the dam until years later. Also the difficulty in casting, because I have snagged so many times in that dam and I've lost so many lures and hooks.
After the long walk, I get very tired, thanks to the chairs. I can sit and rest and absorb the beautiful surroundings. That is when I eat. It is the time I look forward to most. From the time we plan for the adventure to the time I sit down and eat. There are no shops nearby, so we carry our food from home and buy drinks along the way. Sometimes we make our own fruit juice, and I discovered cold coffee and tea can also be refreshing.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side?
Ngong Forest Dam, even though that dam in Ngong Forest Section 1 has a lot of bass, so I hear, and a lot of tilapia, not just any tilapia, but tilapia from Mozambique, which are big and spectacular. Even though they exist in that dam in plenty, I have not had a single bite in that dam, and I have fished that dam for I think 3 or 4 years. The only fish I have caught in that dam is guppies, and I actually scooped them using a net. I have caught tons of crayfish, and I have also managed to trap some small clarias in the spillway, also using a net. There's plenty of them under the rocks. The spillway is shallow, you can just stand on it and overturn the rocks and scoop whatever you find underneath. But using a lure or a bait and a fishing rod on the dam has not yielded any results for me. I remember the first time I tried grasshoppers, there's a lure that I bought, one of the first lures that I bought. I also used some of the common homemade food like bread. I even bought a hot dog and cut it into pieces. After that, I managed to get some lures like spinners, buzz baits, crankbaits, and I tried all of them and not a single bite. Oh, I even tried the crayfish because there's plenty of crayfish in that dam. I tried crayfish, no response. There was not even an indication of fish existing. But along the banks, in the water lily, I could see movement. I could see the water surface getting disturbed by something big, but nothing else. So what I did is I tried watching YouTube videos about bass, their habits, what they are attracted to, what their seasons are. I read everything and I tried to implement. It didn't work. And the water lilies in the dam grew rapidly because actually what normally happens is the workers, the people who maintain the forest, normally clear the water lilies from the dam after every short while. So around the time that I was fishing, they stayed for years without doing any cleanup. As the water lilies grew, the areas where one could easily cast reduced or declined, like they grew smaller, so it became more difficult to fish. But I also noted that people who came to the Ngong Forest Dam on boats were successful. From what I heard, basically I didn't observe personally, but the people who fished from the boat were actually getting the fish, but people who fished from the shore like me were hardly catching anything or even getting a bite. I'm pretty sure the fish have been staring at my bait throughout and probably thinking that my methods were pretty pathetic. If I was to go there right now, I think I would catch something. I mean, assuming there's any fishing area left, and assuming the workers have cleaned up the dam. I feel maybe if I use different methods that I've learned between the last time I was there and now, I will get something. Like, I'd probably use bigger worms or something. I think I know more about how to present a bait in a more attractive way than I knew that time. There's a difference between a long fishing rod and a short fishing rod. A short fishing rod means you can cast in tight areas or you can fish in small streams without having to maneuver yourself, uncomfortably or awkwardly. But if you have a long rod, you can cast further. If you're fishing in a large water body, you can cast much further, and generally rods that are long are stronger and can reel in larger fish. There are some short rods, ultralight rods, so they are called, that can reel in big fish in spite of their small size, but you need to understand how to use them. Like, you need to know how to adjust certain features like drag, etc. The river that supplies Ngong Forest Dam is seasonal, but the dam never dries up. The river is known as Motoini River. When it rains, sometimes the catfish, the African sharp-toothed catfish that is in the dam, gets washed over, and some of them stay in the pools that form below the spillway. And the pools sometimes dry up, but the African sharp-toothed catfish can survive even when the pools dry up by burying themselves in the mud. So one day we found a few swimming in those shallow pools and managed to scoop them up and take pictures. There was even a nice sized one under the rubble, but it got lost in the dirt when we tried to go after it because we stirred up the water. There's also guppies below the spillway, lots and lots of them. And as it dries up, we get more and more guppies because now they get trapped in the pools. And sometimes you can see them trying to climb up the spillway because somehow they know the pool is going to dry. I think I can say they know. Of course, they don't know consciously like humans do, but instinctively they can feel the pool drying up. So they try to get to higher, more permanent water, which is the dam.
When you accompany a fisherman to his adventure, do not expect to go home early. They never stop fishing until it is very late and have caught enough fish, or at least a fish. Do they ever feel like the fish are enough? No. But after I learned how to fish, I understood why they never stop.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours, while I'm walking on you through the night. You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart.
The roads and streets near town centers in Kenya are always crowded early morning and evening. After these adventures, we don't pay much attention to the crowd, but it can be hectic walking in these streets.
Oh, darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought the smoke
For the last 2 years, it has not rained well. The only plants that are doing good are tomatoes and marigold. The marigold keeps the compound beautiful and lively, and I'm happy that it can survive even in this hot weather.
leave me alone. Don't break my heart. You should f***ing stay with him. F***ing stay with him. Darling, if I had bought you flowers, would have you stayed at home the night? Yeah, I've been lonely counting hours while I'm getting blinded by the light. You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart. You should stay with him. Can stay with him.
When we arrive home in the evening, we are obviously hungry, and the first thing that comes to our mind is food.
Break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart. Stay with them.
So one day when you're free, just ask a friend to take you out for a walk and see how it turns out.
Can stay with them. Break my bones. Break all the promises, but leave me